on accountability, and she's deeply rooted in her faith, and these are all things that I definitely want to take and implement in film. When you're on set, you understand what the set looks like, what the costumes look like, the people's makeup. You're there, you're watching the movie, you're like, I had a vision of what this would look like.
Ever wonder why some actors seem to have a target on their back? It's not just about their talent anymore. Hollywood's got a new litmus test, and it ain't about acting chops. Chris Pratt's been in the hot seat lately, and boy, did he come out swinging. We're talking about a guy who's faced more fire than his Jurassic World dinosaurs. But guess what? He's not backing down. This video is going to show you how Pratt's standing tall against the woke mob. So Chris Pratt believes in God. Big deal, right? Wrong. In La La Land, that's like admitting you kick puppies for fun. Seriously, you'd think the guy had committed some kind of crime the way some folks carry on about it. Pratt's never been shy about his faith. Remember that MTV Awards speech? Yeah, the one where he basically told everyone to pray. He stood up there in front of all those celebs and said, God is real, God loves you, God wants the best for you. Can you imagine the collective gasp in that room? It's like he dropped a stink bomb in a perfume factory. But some folks in Tinseltown act like he's committed a cardinal sin. Why is that such a problem? It's not like he's out there forcing people to convert or anything. He's just living his life, talking about what matters to him. But nope, that's too much for some people to handle. Let's break it down. Hollywood's got this unwritten rule. You can believe in anything, as long as it's not Christianity. Buddhist? Cool. Scientologist? Whatever floats your boat. But mention Jesus, and suddenly everyone loses their minds. It's like they think Pratt's gonna start handing out Bibles on set or something.
I didn't get my SAG card by doing the Ray Dawn film, so so I had to get a SAG card, and I got that by doing a guest star. Have you been in a situation where you're like, oh man, I wish I'd have just spent a little more time preparing for this? Or like you leave that day after your work and you go, man,
I should have tried.
Pratt's catchphrase might as well be, I go to church. And boy, does that ruffle some feathers. You can almost hear the collective eye roll every time he mentions faith. It's like they're thinking, oh great, here he goes again with the God stuff. But here's the thing, Pratt doesn't care. He's not trying to win a popularity contest. He's just being himself. But here's the kicker. The more they push, the more Pratt digs in his heels. It's like watching a game of chicken, but instead of cars, it's beliefs. And Pratt's not swerving. Every time someone tries to shame him for his faith, he just doubles down. It's kinda impressive, really. Pratt's response to all this? My faith is important to me. Deal with it. Boom, no apologies, no backtracking, just straight up honesty. You gotta respect that, even if you don't agree with him. In a world where celebs are always trying to please everyone, Pratt's just out here being Pratt. So Pratt ruffled feathers with his God talk, but that was just the warm-up.
Out that needed a guy that even remotely looked like me I auditioned for in some way or another. And I would either submit a tape.
What if I told you his next move would make the woke mob's heads explode? It's not what he said, it's what he didn't say that drove Hollywood bonkers. You know how some celebs can't shut up about politics? They're tweeting every 5 minutes, telling us who to vote for like we can't think for ourselves. Well, Chris Pratt ain't playing that game. During the 2020 election, when every Tom, Dick, and Harry in Hollywood was shouting their opinions from the rooftops, Pratt was quieter than a mouse in church. And boy, did that piss people off. Twitter went into full meltdown mode. It was like watching a bunch of toddlers throwing a tantrum because they couldn't figure out which crayon to use. Why isn't he saying anything? He must be a Republican. No, he's obviously a secret Democrat. People were losing their minds trying to slap a label on him. Left, right, up, down. They were more confused than a chameleon in a bag of Skittles. Meanwhile, Pratt's just living his life, probably wondering why everyone's so obsessed with his ballot. He's over there making movies, hanging with his family, and these folks are acting like his political views are the secret ingredient to world peace or something. But here's the kicker. The more Pratt kept his mouth shut, the louder everyone else got. It was like a game of political chicken, and Pratt wasn't about to swerve. His Marvel buddies were out there waving their political flags. Mark Ruffalo and Chris Evans were practically writing essays on Twitter, but Pratt, radio silence. You'd think he'd eventually crack under the pressure, right? Nope. When he finally did speak up, it wasn't to pick a side. Pratt dropped this little truth bomb. I don't feel represented by either side. Mind-blowing concept, huh?
It's not always an easy thing to do. You see people in Hollywood or people who've got like a lot of privilege,
yes,
and they end up raising.
It's like he told the whole of Hollywood, sorry, I don't fit in your neat little boxes. And let me tell you, that didn't go down well in La La Land. They're all about putting people in categories, and here's Pratt refusing to play ball. It's like he showed up to a black tie event in jeans and a t-shirt. The horror. Ever wonder what happens when you mix Chris Pratt, Twitter, and religion? It's like dropping a match in a powder keg. Hollywood lost its damn mind over Pratt's church and the accusations they threw around. Let's just say it makes cancel culture look tame. So here's the deal. Pratt's just minding his own business, going to church like millions of other folks. But suddenly, everyone's got an opinion on where he spends his Sundays. It's like the whole world turned into nosy neighbors overnight. Next thing you know, Twitter's blowing up with accusations that Pratt's church is anti-LGBTQ+. Because apparently, now we're judging people based on where they pray.
There's a certain level of luck that's involved, and opportunities have to present themselves. But once those opportunities were brought to me, I was like, I'm gonna go do that.
So you danced for somebody?
Yeah.
For like
A dude.
It's not enough to criticize someone's actions anymore. Now we're going after their beliefs too. Talk about a witch hunt. And boy, did people lose their minds. Suddenly, everyone's an expert on Pratt's personal views, because that's totally how it works, right? You just look at someone's church and bam, you know everything about them. Never mind actually talking to the guy or anything crazy like that. So what do these keyboard warriors do? They start demanding Pratt denounce his church. Yeah, you heard that right. They want him to throw his entire faith community under the bus because of some rumors and hearsay. It's like they think Pratt's got nothing better to do than respond to every half-baked accusation on social media. But here's where it gets good. Pratt's not having any of it. He's not about to ditch his church just because some Twitter mob says so.
We started filming before we had the second and third act written. And with Mario, they were still working out the second and third act when we started.
Nah, this guy's got a backbone, and instead of hiding or apologizing like some celebs do, he does something totally wild. He responds with facts on social media. Can you believe the audacity of this guy? He straight up says, "My church opens its doors to absolutely everyone." Boom. Mic drop. He's not playing defense. He's setting the record straight. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Pratt's made his stance clear, explained that his church isn't what people are claiming. Time to move on, yeah. But nope. In the world of woke Hollywood, it's never that simple. They can't handle someone actually standing up for what they believe in. It's like they can't compute that someone might have different views but still be a decent human being. In their black and white world, if you're not with them, you're against them. No room for nuance or, God forbid, actual discussion. Remember those dumb popularity contests from school? Well, Hollywood decided to revive that nonsense with a twist. They're not picking the best Chris, they're choosing the worst. And surprise, surprise, they've got Pratt in their crosshairs. But here's the kicker. This time, Pratt's got some unexpected allies in his corner. So picture this, some bright spark decides to start a poll asking which Hollywood Chris should get booted off a celebrity island. We're talking Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pine. Guess who ends up as the punching bag? Yep, our boy Pratt. Suddenly, it's open season on the guy.
A slight affectation on my voice as Mario, even though people were like, you just did your own voice. I'm like, I don't know, really, it's slightly different. But then Mark was like, I want your voice. I was like, are you?
Twitter's having a field day, and the comments are flying faster than superhero punches in an Avengers movie. He's not woke enough. He's too religious. It's like watching a bunch of adults play a really messed up game of dodgeball, and Pratt's the only target. But here's where it gets interesting. Just when you think Pratt's gonna be left out to dry, his co-stars step up to the plate. And we're not talking about B-listers here. We're talking Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo. You know, only Iron Man and the Hulk. These guys aren't messing around. Downey Jr. comes out swinging, saying, "What a world, the sinless are casting stones at my brother, Chris Pratt." Boom, take that, Twitter mob. It's like watching your big brother show up to defend you from the school bully. Except in this case, the bully is a whole bunch of keyboard warriors with too much time on their hands. And it's not just his Marvel buddies. Even his ex-wife Anna Faris jumps in to defend him. Talk about a plot twist. It's like the whole of Hollywood decided to form a human shield around Pratt. So what does Pratt do in the face of all this drama? He pulls the ultimate power move, radio silence. That's right, while everyone's losing their minds, Pratt's just chilling, probably wondering why grown adults are acting like they're back in high school, sometimes saying nothing says everything.
On accountability, and she's deeply rooted in her faith, and these are all things that I definitely want to take and implement.
But here's the million-dollar question. Why does Hollywood seem to have it out for this guy? Is it because he doesn't fit into their neat little boxes? Because he's not afraid to be himself, even if that means going against the grain? Whatever the reason, one thing's for sure. Pratt's not backing down. He's weathered the storm of public opinion, and he's still standing tall. And in a world where everyone's trying to please everyone else, that's pretty damn refreshing. Maybe Hollywood could learn a thing or two from Chris Pratt about staying true to yourself even when the whole world's telling you to change.